The Inner Fortress, Living Stoicism in a Noisy World. Chapter 1, The Noise All Around. The world has never been louder. Notifications buzz. Opinions scream. News crashes into your peace like waves onto a cliff. And there you are, in the middle of it all, trying to hold on to something solid, something true. That's where Stoicism begins. Not in silence, but in noise. Not in perfection, but in chaos. Because the Stoic path isn't about escaping the world. It's about standing still in the storm and building your fortress within. Chapter 2, The First Stone, Control and Choice. The first thing the Stoics teach you is this. There are two kinds of things in life. What you control, what you don't. That's it. You don't control the weather, the traffic, the economy, or what someone says about you. But you do control how you respond. That small space between stimulus and response, that's where your power lives. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us and some are not." Happiness and freedom begin with this understanding. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you start living freely. Chapter 3, The Fire of Self-Discipline. A Stoic life isn't soft. It's a fire. You must feed it with discipline. Protect it from distractions. Use it to burn away weakness. Self-discipline isn't punishment. It's protection. From your lower impulses. From emotional chaos. From the parts of you that sabotage your peace. You don't wake up and hope to be disciplined. You build it by choosing to rise when you'd rather sleep. To breathe when you want to scream. To stay calm when life pushes hard. The world breaks those without fire. But those who train their flame, endure. Chapter 4, The Example of Marcus. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, ruler of millions, surrounded by war, betrayal, and constant pressure. And yet, he wrote this to himself in quiet moments. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wrote not for glory, but for survival. Because even emperors get overwhelmed. But instead of seeking comfort in distraction, he found strength in reflection, in solitude, in Stoic practice. You don't need to be an emperor to follow his example. You just need a pen and honesty. Chapter 5, The Freedom of Epictetus. Born a slave, crippled by a cruel master, and yet free. That was Epictetus. Because he knew chains can shackle your limbs, but never your mind. He chose courage over bitterness. He chose wisdom over revenge. His school was simple. A room, a stool, a voice full of fire. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that mastery isn't built in comfort. It's forged in hardship. You've suffered. Good. You're ready. Chapter 6, The Test of Everyday Life. You don't need a battlefield to be a Stoic. Your tests are smaller, but no less real. The rude driver. The slow line. The friend who doesn't text back. The voice in your head saying, "You're not enough." These are your training grounds. Each moment is a choice. Give in, or grow stronger. React, or reflect. Explode, or endure. And when you fail, because you will, you don't judge yourself. You reset. And begin again. Chapter 7, The Art of Negative Visualization. One of the Stoics' strangest, and most powerful, tools is this. Imagine losing what you love. Every morning, they would picture the death of their children, the loss of their home, the end of their lives. Not to be morbid, but to be grateful. Because when you remember nothing is promised, everything becomes precious. Try it now. Imagine this is your last cup of coffee, your last sunrise, your last conversation. Would you complain? Or would you savor it? That's the point. Chapter 8, The Shield of Objectivity. Emotion distorts. Stoicism clears. When things go wrong, the untrained mind says, "This is terrible." the Stoic mind says. Is it? Or is it just happening? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Don't call it unfair. Don't call it unlucky. Call it what it is. Then decide. What will I do next?" That's objectivity. That's power. Chapter 9. The practice of voluntary discomfort. To prepare for life's blows, the Stoics practiced being uncomfortable, on purpose. They wore rough clothes, slept on the ground, skipped meals, walked barefoot. Why? So when hardship came, they would not panic. They would smile. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, and say to yourself, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" Modern discomfort looks like this: cold showers, leaving your phone behind, saying no to indulgence. Do this often enough, and nothing frightens you anymore. Chapter 10. The Evening Review. The day ends. Most people scroll. The Stoic reflects. Every night they asked, "What did I do well? Where did I falter? What will I do better tomorrow?" No judgment, just awareness. Over time, this nightly audit makes you sharper, kinder, wiser. It's not sexy, but it works. Because excellence isn't one grand moment. It's thousands of small, quiet corrections. Chapter 11. The Calm in the Crisis. The world will test you. A breakup, a job loss, a diagnosis, a betrayal. When that day comes, and it will, what will you lean on? Not a quote, not a book, but the character you've built. Because you've trained. Because you've prepared. And now, when others panic, you breathe. When others rage, you respond. When others fall apart, you remain whole. That is Stoicism. Not words, but ways. Not talk, but transformation. Chapter 12. The Return to Stillness. You don't need a monastery. You don't need to disappear. Just pause. Even now. Close your eyes. Breathe. Think of everything that upsets you right now. Then ask, "Is this in my control? If yes, what can I do now? If no, can I let it go?" This is the path. You return to it. Every moment. And with each return, you come home to your true self. Still. Quiet. Strong. Like a fortress. Chapter 13. The Stoic and the Modern World. Stoicism was born in ancient Greece, refined in the courts of emperors, and tested in the dirt of battlefields. But now it walks among us. In the engineer who calmly solves problems under pressure. In the nurse who endures night after night of emotional exhaustion. In the teacher who shows patience again and again. In the single parent who puts their child first, no matter what. The modern world is noisy, chaotic, and fast. Stoicism slows you down, clears your mind, and sharpens your presence. You carry your values like armor. Not to show off, but to survive intact. Virtue still matters. Wisdom still works. Discipline still frees. Chapter 14. The Four Virtues in Action. The Stoics built their lives on four timeless virtues. 1. Wisdom, knowing what matters and acting accordingly. You apply this every time you pause before reacting. Every time you ask, "What's the best move here?" 2. Courage, not the absence of fear, but action in its presence. You live this when you speak the truth, even when it costs you. When you show up despite anxiety. 3. Justice, treating others fairly, with dignity. You embody this when you return kindness for cruelty. When you advocate for someone with no voice. 4. Temperance, moderation, balance, self-restraint. You show this every time you stop at enough. Every time you say, "I don't need more." These are not just words. They are daily decisions. Small ones, hard ones, noble ones. Chapter 15. Becoming your own philosopher. The Stoics weren't gurus. They weren't influencers. They were students of life. They didn't say, "Here's how you should live." They asked, "What is the right way to live?" And they answered, not just with words, but with how they carried themselves through loss, betrayal, pain, and triumph. You, too, can ask the hard questions. What am I chasing, and why? What am I avoiding? What matters most to me? Then, live the answers. That is philosophy in motion. Chapter 16, The Day You Break. There will be a day when you collapse. When nothing makes sense. When it all feels too heavy. The Stoics expected this. They didn't deny the darkness. They walked through it. And on that day, you'll remember. You've prepared for this. You've trained your mind. You've faced small hardships to handle the big ones. You'll fall, and you'll rise. Not because life is easy, but because you are strong. Not immune, but resilient. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." So live, even when it hurts. Chapter 17, The Stoic's Prayer. A Stoic doesn't pray for ease. They pray for strength. They don't ask for a lighter load. They ask for a stronger back. They say, "Let me meet adversity with clarity. Let me meet insult with silence. Let me meet fortune with humility. Let me meet death with peace." And then they act. Because Stoicism is not a theory. It is a life. Chapter 18, The Still Point in a Turning World. You cannot stop the world. But you can still yourself within it. When the world panics, breathe. When the world complains, focus. When the world rushes, be present. You do not belong to the chaos. You belong to your principles. This is your practice. Not for attention. Not for status. But for peace. You don't follow the Stoic path because it's popular. You follow it because it makes you real. Chapter 19, The Final Moment. Someday, this life will end. The Stoics knew this, and welcomed it. They didn't run from death. They invited it into every day. They used it as a sharpening stone for the soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. If this were your last hour, what would matter? Hold on to that. Let it guide your steps. Let it cleanse your clutter. Let it shape your legacy." Chapter 20, The Legacy of Stillness. What will you leave behind? Not possessions. Not achievements. But presence. Calm. Character. Your family will remember your steadiness. Your friends, your quiet strength. The world, your integrity. This is what Stoicism offers. Not a perfect life, but a meaningful one. You walk the path not to escape hardship, but to face it better. You become the person others can lean on. You become the calm in their storm. And when your time is done, you will go with peace in your chest. Because you lived with virtue. And that was always enough. The final word. You are ready. Close the book. Put down the phone. Step into the world. The storm is still out there. But now you carry the fortress within. You don't need to be Marcus. Or Seneca. Or Epictetus. You just need to be you. A little braver. A little wiser. A little more still. A Stoic, in motion.